for members of Congress to do.
Out here in the audience, we have Sasha. And Sasha, I know you've been really active and interested in Syria affairs. Was there something that you learned, or is there something that you would want to know from our political panel here?
I didn't feel that the president expressed anything new, but definitely I'd like to ask a question from the panelists. My question is at this time, you know, originally there was some efforts in the Senate and the vote looked good in the Senate, but many members in both chambers now feel that the president doesn't have a clear plan and would like to see it expressed. Why does the panel think that the president is allowing Putin to undercut his very tenuous efforts to get votes by entertaining the Russian proposal?
Because I don't think he's being undercut. The president's been talking to Putin about this for a while. I don't think John Kerry slipped. I think that's something that they were planning all along. And I think there's something very clear about this that we have to pay attention to. Where did Syria get most of their weapons from? They bought them from Russia. The reason Putin is involved is because if we go bomb, even with our pinpricks, we're going to end up killing Russian citizens. They have technicians there. They have military consultants there. They have private citizens who are helping to organize some of the missile systems that are operating in Syria. So, you know, Putin isn't here undercutting the United States. He's acting in his own country's best interest and something that makes him look good.
Let's
remind
people.
What do you say, Roland, to the headline in the National Journal that said, Putin wins, didn't save Obama, he beat him?
Okay, this is Washington, D.C. being stuck on stupid. That's exactly what this is. And this is why I hate the sort of the inside the Beltway process. Here's what Americans have to understand. When we are trying to deal with North Korea, guess who we go talk to the North Koreans? China. When we're talking about Iran, we're talking to the French. We have to understand as Americans, we don't have the greatest relationships with everybody else. Other countries who are our allies in different ways, they have great relationships. And so if there's somebody who I don't really like, but Jason knows them, I'm going to say, hey, Jason, I can't stand them, but can you please go talk to them because I really don't want to deal with them. And so that's one of the things that you do here. And so when the president had a couple of side conversations with Putin, they weren't talking about the New England Patriots ring. They were probably talking about this very issue. And so let's stop with this nonsense that somehow he is upstaging us. No, you need folks like him who can send the signal to Assad to say, hey, man, they're serious. They're going to blow you up. You might want to listen to me because I'm your friend.
There's also a common cause here where Vladimir Putin has no interest in having those chemical weapons fall into the hands of extremists. He has a domestic problem in the southern part of his country. We're in Dagestan, Chechnya. And he fears himself that if those weapons were to fall into the hands of extremists, they could end up back on Russian soil and harming Russians and harming the Russian state. That's one of his interests. The other, as you point out, was this a slip of the tongue on the part of the rhetorical flourish on the part of the Secretary of State? I don't think so. No. We now know that this is a subject that Vladimir Putin and President Obama had been discussing at the G20. We know that Lavrov, the Foreign Secretary of Russia, and Secretary Kerry had been discussing. Did he mean to say it then? Who knows? Was the timing right? But it happened. Yeah. But one thing I did not hear from the president tonight that I think is really interesting, he spoke specifically about the kind of resolution that he wanted to see come forward at the UN Security Council. And we know that there is a dispute now between what the Russians say they want, that there can't be any punishment, that there shouldn't be any criminal trials of those responsible, and that there has been objection to that from the US, the UN, and France. Tonight, the president made no mention of punishment. He said only disarmament and destruction. He did not add any other conditions.
Well, he did say there are emerging signs of diplomacy because, that was his emphasis, because of our threat of military action.
Yes.
He did say that. You know, you've got to understand that something has been achieved here. There was an important breakthrough. Syria has acknowledged that it has chemical weapons. They never did that in the past. They don't acknowledge that they use them. That may be down the road, but they acknowledge they have them. If, in the end, the Syrians, for diplomatic reasons in a deal, give up their chemical weapons and those weapons are destroyed, this will be a great achievement for President Obama.
And remember, Saddam Hussein never acknowledged he did not have them. He kept toying, he paid the price. Trust me, other leaders are saying, I might not want to go down that road of playing with the United States because they've already shown what can happen if you joke around. And so them admitting that is a huge
and the big question, of course, is whether that would have happened had there not been the threat of force.
Absolutely.
We want to get more reaction from our audience here.